welcome to the Smart Driving Cars Summit, the third version, and I think what we would like to do is begin with a little bit of introduction. Christine O'Brien, who has been my soulmate in the creation of these things, probably since I started in this, when she made it perfectly clear that insurance was the issue here. Christine, would you like to say a few words?
Good morning, everybody. I am Christine O'Brien, and I'm the president of the Insurance Council of New Jersey. And we are the trade association for property casualty insurers doing business here in the state. So yes, one of my colleagues, I think from USAA, introduced me to the professor years ago, and it's been a great relationship since. And one of my associates is here for the first time at this conference, and he was looking at the agenda and was overwhelmed. I said, well, you'll see that in print to reflect what is in Alain's head. It's just a lot of information at a lot of time, not enough time to process or get everything done. So, in that spirit, I appreciate being able to partner with him and his team. It's nice to see some familiar faces. For those of you who are new to the conference, you have colleagues here from across the country and abroad, bringing all of their expertise, which is, for the most part, completely out of my wheelhouse, right? All of the interesting technologies and what you're doing, but it parlays into the very layman discussions that we're having with legislators. And, auto insurance and liability insurance, et cetera, is one of the cornerstones of the development of this field, of this space of autonomous vehicle and disruptive markets, as we refer to it in my business, and how we can take what we talk about today and then practically implement it into our communities and for the everyday drivers. And today, when we talk about today and tomorrow, this whole idea of being mobility marginalized or disadvantaged, it reminds me of the discussion of food deserts and how we have something similar in terms of the world of transportation, these mobility deserts. And so you may have your senior links and your hospital shuttles, et cetera. Maybe you have a bus line that runs through your town, but I know here in this area, in Mercer County, my corner of the county, which is only 10 miles from here, we don't have heavy transportation. You have to drive yourself to the train. You might be lucky to find a bus stop in the region. But if you're down in the city of Trenton, there's plenty of opportunities. But are they really opportunities that then get them to other places where they can work, where they can have better jobs? So that's what I think is key about this. We represent the ICNJ. We work with the legislature in New Jersey, the governor's office, the various agencies representing carrier interests. We've been talking a lot about a couple of bills that will allow for testing in New Jersey. What's the safety around that? What type of insurance do they have to have? I mean, it's no stranger to that discussion in terms of what it means in the insurance world. But for practical purposes, we'll talk about cost savings in auto insurance and what drives up those costs. So part of what drives up those costs are medical bills, just like in everything else. But part of what we talk about in this space, and this is where Alain brings me in, and of course wants insurance to really invest in the R&D of this technology, which does make sense. But the idea of just lessening the frequency of accidents doesn't necessarily mean you are lessening the severity of accidents. So we may have fewer fatalities, fewer crashes moving forward as we develop smarter cars, not just autonomous cars. But the severity of those accidents and what insurers pay out still so far looks as if it will remain the same, if not increase. So there's this balancing act because severity reflects the damage done in the accident. So your $1,000 bumper, as you know, now may cost you to $4,000 because of the technology just in the bumper. What is your $45 side view mirror that got swiped that you can now buy off eBay and replace? Guess what? That too is smarter than probably the passengers in the car. So that costs a lot to fix. So when it comes to insurance, we're all about safety first and what we can do to protect the driver, which is why we're in this space. When it comes to affording the research and development, I know that my partners here from Munich Re and others have taken a real vested interest in moving forward this type of technology and bringing it to market, whether it's from vehicle to vehicle and fleets, or so you and I can get into a car and sit like this and drive and maybe play Fortnite. But that's from where we're coming from. So I want you to keep in mind Kyle Seppi is here from the Insurance Council of New Jersey. He also represents us at the legislature. So if you have any questions or information, please see either one of us throughout the next 2 days. We're here to learn from you as much as we can offer you the same in turn about what's going on in our field. So thank you, good luck. It's going to be a great 2 days.
Thank you. Since she said almost everything that I wanted to say, I'm probably going to skip my slides to see that we stay on cue. I will get a chance to give you my opinion one way or another. I usually do, don't I? I mean, whatever, I chime in. But I would really like us to try to stay on schedule this morning, especially because we have a lot of such good speakers. They're packed in up until lunchtime, and then at lunchtime we have our very good panel here, as we did last year, with talking about the regulation aspects of this, and we want to make sure that we have time for that. And then we have another plenary session that really sets up the process for the conference after lunch. And then we have 3 workshops, and the workshops are important here. They're for us to engage and figure out what to do next. We can look backwards pretty easily. Our trouble is looking forwards, and that's really the purpose of the workshops. So we have stakeholders basically setting it up, discussing, chopping it down, and then stirring the pot. And we'll repeat that again on 6 more workshops tomorrow. We also have some displays, some demonstrations. We have some vehicles out there. And the most important thing is that we're actually going to be doing some research here while this conference is going on. We're taking advantage of having one of these driverless vehicles here. And we're displaying it to people who haven't had a chance to see this before and want to get their feedback as to how to design it for them. This is an effort to provide mobility for all, and I'll show my slides as to how embarrassed I am as to how poorly we've done it so far, and how we should do it better going out. We're at the very beginning of this. It's easy to do things now. It's a lot harder to retrofit it later. So that's why we want to do it, and that's why we set it up this way. So that's the madness that went into the methods that are here.